Okay, folks, good evening. We got a pile of yellow stuff right in front of us. Oh, this is zoomed in quite a bit. Let's fix that. There we go. We have a bunch of other stuff that I have airbrushed. And I'm having to do a kind of a leapfrog method. Because as soon as you get done with something else, you got to work on something else. Hey, Barnes. Welcome back. Man. Time for you to go to sleep. I don't know. You might work nights. So this is a guy who worked on yesterday. This is the Matchbox Panther G. And here is the Lukes that we spray painted the camouflage on. That didn't exactly go as planned, but no big deal. And while I was out there, all these used to be black. I do not want to install the latest Windows update. No, your device needs to restart. No, select the time to restart. When? Not now. Hide for now. Let me close this before this thing decides to restart. This thing is obsessed with wanting to update my computer to Windows 11, and I'm not going to have it. Normally I wouldn't think it, but I had something ruined, and I just can't imagine not being able to do this anymore because of some update. And, oh, the Streamlabs isn't compatible with Windows 11. I'm not going to research it. I'm not going to change. I'm fine with 10. It works just fine. I have had a bad adult experience with it. And we're not going back there. Anyhow, so we've got all of these things that have been painted in Dunkelgelb. And, yeah, so we needed to do that because we're going to give these guys a wash while we're at it. Except for one. There's only one we're not going to give a wash to. So this is the bottom hull of the Panther. We need to glue it together. We didn't have epoxy at the time. So it needs to be glued on here. Epoxied on there. And then this is the bottom hull of the J from Fujimi, which I'm actually looking forward to finishing it. It actually has some pretty fine details on it. Compared to all these other ones, there's a lot of detail on it. So we need to give her a wash. This is the Matchbox / Dinky diecast Panzer IV H, or as you guys across the pond say, H. Here's the turret for the Panther. And the last one's the problem child, because this is the Italieri as we used to call them. Panzer IV. It's just, that's how the box is labeled. Panzer IV. Where's the top to it? Did I not spray it? It's okay if I didn't spray it. I'm going to leave it out there. Okay, well, the top of this turret, I didn't realize, has all kinds of stuff that's wrong with it. So we're going to have to modify that. So we're not going to mess with you right now. Guess I left the top over there. Or didn't spray it. Whatever, no big deal. This thing is really nice. This is really a really nice model. See if I can put it here somewhere it's in focus. And I specifically did not put, hey Rick, I specifically did not put the side skirts because later on these guys used a mesh side skirt to save material. and it does not look very good. It does not look like mesh. It is just, it's plastic with like mesh things on it. So I'm like, you know what? Lots of these things didn't have the side shirts, and it's very rare to find Turret Thursday. It's Turds Day. It's very rare to find a picture with the side shirts in it, not the ones on the side of the turret. Like the side of the turret are the common ones. So, okay, so we can give these guys a wash, put the Panther together, and finish up this cute little guy right here. Which I didn't really like how it turned out, but it will end up being fine because I thinned down. It would have used Vallejo paint, and I thinned it down, and I thinned it down too much. You know, again, I've been painting for almost 40 years, but I've only been airbrushing for a few weeks. So, but the airbrush didn't jam on me, so we're good. All right, let's get. Man, I got these brushes over here like a bunch of pickup sticks. All right, let's. We don't need to do the wash right this second. Let's move these guys to the side, and let's finish this little guy. I did bring this color in, didn't I? And I really, really, really like these paints for airbrushing. I really like these MIG paints. You just use them as is. Just use them as is, no problem. I really do like them. Good thing, because I got a bunch of them. But I've used this one so much. This thing is a mess. I probably should clean this. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do some maintenance. So I was having a conversation with somebody today, and I was having a back and forth on text, and I came to realize something, and it's actually happened to me recently. I don't want to tell people on the street what I do as a hobby. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. And I used to be really excited about it, to talk about it. And I don't want to talk like, people say, hey, what do you do for fun? I like avoid talking about the hobby. Because I just think our hobby has become more mainstream. I shouldn't say that. Our hobby has become that more people know about it. And which is good, except they hear about it by freak shows. And there's just too many people in our hobby that are just excruciatingly socially awkward. I don't know why that is, and it kind of pisses me off. Because I live in a college town, okay? And just about anybody who's an adult male, all they do is talk about football. That's all they know. It's like they're a bunch of Australopithecines. That's all they know about. So I've just started calling them football nerds. Because that's all they know is how far somebody, grabbed something underneath their arm and ran with it. That's all they know. And it's just, I find it really annoying. And, it's not that I have a problem going to a football game. I actually find it enjoyable, but, I don't really care what happens because, I don't even know anybody playing there, But there's so many weird things that happen. Cosplayers and stuff like that I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to talk about my hobby. I'm not going to get anybody into it just by talking about it. And we ran a game of DBA. We ran several games of DBA at a pub, right? We were just having fun playing this board game. Not a single person came by off the street. I'm talking about, normal people that aren't gamers and said, hey, what is that? Or, hey, those are cool knights. because, I figured, okay, not everybody wants to play games. I get it, right? But there should be a lot more people that are interested in history, and there just aren't, you know? And, I don't know. So I've just gotten to the point where I don't want to talk to people on the street about it. You guys get it. You know what it's all about. You've been doing it your whole life. But people on the street just don't understand it. And I just don't want to be associated with, oh, I know what you are. You play that Magic the Gathering game. No, I shower. I just showered. I got home, I ate, I did my workout. And I airbrushed the stuff. And now I'm here hanging out with you guys. Okay, so... Oh, crap. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably made a mess again, didn't I? Nope, let me be quick about it. So I just don't want to talk about it with, people on the street. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it to do all that explaining. It's not like I'm going to recruit somebody. Get the, 40K. Yeah, I just don't understand. Okay, here's what I don't understand, okay? People that can't turn the nerd stuff off when they leave the table. Like they go when they're in, oh, well, we're going to do that, since, I just don't understand it. Oh, well. And take a shower, for God's sakes. And put on deodorant that works. It's not like, well, they don't make deodorant in my size. All right, so we're going to come back with the basic color over here and go over this. So somebody a little while ago was asking about, oh, well, I said something like, oh, I go to Pennsylvania every year. You do? What do you go in Pennsylvania from? And I'm like, shit, I shouldn't tell them I go to historic cons. I got to explain what the hell that is. And they'll be like, So I'm like, guys trip. That's it. I'll leave it at that. I don't elaborate anything else. I've just stopped talking about it. People don't understand it. And if they do understand it, they get the wrong idea. I don't live at home with my mom. I've had a job since I was freaking 16 years old, every year, Because I guess there's people that are like adults and just live at home. And they don't work and they don't do anything. And what happens when your parents die? What do you do then? Even if you're like, a Vanderbilt, okay, or somebody that's just a millionaire, you don't have to work. What do you do when your parents die? The people that you freaking depend on all your time, your whole life. What do you do then? Man, you got to get out and get a job. It's empowering. Doesn't mean you have to have a job you hate. Get another job, It's like Monopoly. Yeah. I just don't want to explain it to people. There's too many people out there that are extremely weird and don't care. And there's something to be said about being yourself, but, some people go out of their way to be strange. And no, I'm not talking about you, Rick. You're always well dressed. You seem really clean. Your place is really organized, You speak well in front of a camera, you know? So, I don't know. I don't want to be associated with those other folks. You know, and there's so many people, and this isn't a gamer problem, this is a people problem. See, look how this is clean this thing up just nicely. That just are sore losers. They've got to win every single thing that they play. And it's like, you know, the other guy's trying to win too, you know? One of my favorite sayings is you know, when you said, you know, you'll say something like, I bet that this is going to happen. The other person's like, well, I think that's going to happen too. I said, we can have a bet if we both take the same side, you know? Somebody's got to be on opposite ends, and the other guy's going to try to, you know, win the other way. That's the same thing. Sports fans, I've been around sports fans my entire life in this town. And it's like, they are the worst, like, cheater, like, they can't, you know, like, dude, can't you see that, you know, nope, they're just totally blind. They're blinded to anything that could possibly be, you know, if it's against their team, then the other guys are cheaters. And, you know, when it works the other way, they don't see it. It's just, you know, bad sportsmanship. The cashier at your gas station introduced himself as the vampire of the quick shop. This is not going to go well. Some people just can't turn it off when they're in public. Yeah. But you know, I fully believe people should be able to do whatever they want. I'm just saying that you're not doing me any favors. You know, like I don't really want to be associated with that. You know, try doing the, as I put it, try doing the best you can with what God gave you. You know, whatever God you want to. Okay, so we just subtlefied that a little bit. I make up my own words. And that's better. That's better because, like, I watered it down and it got too watery and it just gets away from me. It's just, you know, and then you don't do that and then it's too dry and, oh well. Look, the end result is I like it. So it's just not, I can't do it right on the first go. Shit happens, right? I don't know what about poor some gamers and poor hygiene. Are there that many people that have poor hygiene? Because there's people that work at where I work and I'm sure they have poor hygiene as well, and they're not gamers. Collectible card gamers and competitive 40K have that special funk about them that makes you not even want to be associated with the games playing or even in the hobby. Yeah, I don't know. You have to take a shower every effing day, at least once. One. Now, whether you're a morning shower or you're an evening shower, I happen to be an evening shower. I work at a place that within 5 minutes of me getting there, I'm already sweaty. So there's no point in getting up and taking a shower to go to work. Okay? I take a shower when I get home, and I'm clean at night. I can't stand being, you know, go to bed like dirty. And so I am an evening showerer. The basement dweller stigma associated with many and all confused. You wouldn't want your own place free of your parents' free rules. They have your own space. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, that's why they take attendance in school, right? So you get used to going to work every day. You know, it doesn't mean you have to work in a shithole. Get another job. You know. They'll say, well, you know, most gamers are really intelligent. Okay, but they lack common sense. All right, so we got that done. We need to do the dry brushing of the next level up. So let's go ahead and do that. My daughter refuses to go to game stores with me. She went to Spray Gunner though. She had a good time in Spray Gunner. That place is really well organized though. There weren't any weirdos running around, but I told her, so you got nothing to worry about. None of those guys ever messed with a girl. But she's scared of them. You've bought 3 to a game store, and all 3 were so uncomfortable and creeped out that I wanted to throw fists at the idiot gamers who made them uncomfortable like that. Yeah. I don't really have a lot of. I don't understand why so many people have such a problem dealing with somebody of the opposite sex. And I'm not saying that, I'm a ladies' man, but I'm just saying that, just be freaking human, if you act weird like that, it's probably because you're not self-confident. You know what gives you self-confidence? Freaking get a job, be clean, dress like if I'm going to talk in front of people, I love wearing a tie. I get a power trip off that. You look good, you feel like you know what you're talking about, Don't come in disheveled wearing freaking socks and sandals and shit like that. Socks with holes in them and sandals. Or Crocs, yeah. I used to wear a pair of Crocs, but they weren't that. They were like slip-on ones, and they were really comfortable. But I wouldn't wear them cloggy things. But the problem with Crocs is they're really bad for your feet. They don't give you any support. They're comfortable because they don't weigh anything. So you go out and buy shoes that don't weigh anything. There's lots of them out there. Won't go into a local game store anymore because of a similar situation. Yeah, they're just too fucking weird, man. It's okay for people to be whatever they want, but man, when did it get to be okay to just be just a freak? And like, people have to accept me for being a freak. No, they don't. I don't know. When I was in grade school, if you decided to go to school and said, you know what, I'm going to wear one sock of one color and one of another, they would give you an atomic wedgie. And, if you told somebody of authority about it, they'd laugh at you. I'm not saying I'm pro-bullying, but it's better than this society that we live out now where people can just they can just type things. They can be like super nasty, like keyboard commando, and there's no repercussions to it. Keyboard commando. Your keyboard commando merit badge. Sports nerds, that's what I call them. Social media should be eliminated. It's great for this hobby, but it sucks for a lot of other things. I think it is completely responsible for a lot of people not wanting to work. Because all it does is it shows you all the good stuff. Okay? You'll see all this stuff that people have, and it doesn't show the hard work that goes into getting that. Now, given there's some people that have all the stuff handed to them, okay? But, if you want stuff, you got to work for them. That's how it works, And it doesn't show you any of that. And it just means that you want more and more and more. And oh, somebody's got that. Well, and all they do is, screw around. You know what they should do away with? Influencers. I absolutely hate influencers. Are basically the poor version, and some of them aren't poor, the poor version of like Paris Hilton. People that don't do nothing all day long. And some people like follow them and stuff. And I'm like, it gives people ideas. It's like, oh, I could win the lottery if I play the lottery. Dude, you better get used to working every day of your life, because that's what we're all going to be doing, Do you have one of those Oregon laminate, whatever the long, big, what is it called? Oregon Dynamics lamination technology corner cutter thing? I know their word is, it's like super, extremely long. Oregon Pyrotechnics laminate. And everybody half of the people rave about it, and the other half says it's a piece of shit that falls apart in no time. And I'm thinking it's probably really good, but you just can't strong arm everything. You've got to take care of things or you're going to break them, and you don't want to buy another one. Hey, Skylab. Hitler last gamble. Is that Bulge or is that Budapest? Okay, let me put my glasses on and step away from this thing. And see how we're looking. As soon as I pick up a freaking paintbrush, not to toot my own horn, but as soon as I pick up the paintbrush, now I'm not really happy with this, and I start fixing it with a paintbrush, it's like, oh, I'm happy with it, Well, I got this shit down. You'd think I would have it by now, having done this for so long. This is a cute little creature. No, this one and the Puma. Do you like this one, Nordic? Because I know you're in the Puma hater club. I don't know if you hate the Puma, but it's not your favorite. Fair enough. No point in liking something everybody else likes. You have a larger size nail clipper that cost me $1. Okay. It's Ardennes offensive? Okay. Nordic's a dirty Puma hater. No, it's okay. If everybody... I don't like the Puma because it has a 2-man turret. If it had a 3-man turret, I'd be on Team Puma. But... I think it's a 4-man crew. You got a driver. You got the commander, who's also the gunner. You have a loader. And you have a guy that sits on his ass facing the wrong way because it's got 2 driving compartments. Oh, I got to talk about this to Rick. Rick doesn't know this. Or maybe he does. Rick's a sharp guy. Maybe he knows that. Ready for your World War II lesson, Rick? I'm not going to pull the Puma out because she's somewhere. Puma is just the more modern version of this guy. This thing has 2 driving compartments, and I believe it can go forwards and backwards the same speed. So, you take the Puma over the Panzer II? Oh, but he's so cute. So, it's got 2 driving compartments. It's actually the modern German armored car, which is called I think it's a Lux as well. And it's sexy looking too. It is also an 8-wheeled armored car. It's got 2 driving compartments. So you got the main driver, and then you got the guy that's normally the radio operator. He sits back there facing the wrong way, and they can shoot and scoot kind of thing. Panzer II's adorbs. Yeah, too bad it's full of Nazis. Nazis made some cute things. Speaking of cute things and Nazis, I talked about it yesterday. There was something on eBay that was really cheap, and I, like a dumbass, talked myself into buying it. Well, It was only $9.99 and shipping of like $7, and it's actually a good deal. It's actually a good deal. The only reason not to get it is it's not necessarily the next thing I want to do, but they sent me, hey, will you take this offer for $7.99? So I'm like, okay, now it's $8 plus $8 shipping. I'm like, yeah, I got it. So, and cute, it's actually the opposite of cute. One of the most unattractive German vehicle is one of the things. It was a Stug. It was which I think it's an FAA Stug 3. And the cool thing about it is it has both hatches on the top that open. So I got crew members. We're going to put 2 guys on top of it. So it's a Stug 3 that is that's resin in white metal, and it is an RSO Pack 40, which is ugly as shit, and another Pack 40, and like 10 or 12 individual figures, which I don't give a shit about them because they're FAA and I hate their faces. But I think I'm going to do head swaps on them. So I figured I can't pass that up for freaking $8. You know, a brand new Stug, an RSO, even though it's ugly as shit, it doesn't matter. Another Pack 40. Now they give me 4 of them. I just couldn't pass it up. So weird. This angle tracks. Well, this is does it? Yeah, it kind of does in the picture, doesn't it? It kind of does. It's not though. One thing that is messed up about this, look at the front of the track here. It is just miscast big time. I believe this is a Canadian company called Rapham that made this. You only know what I show you? I better be careful what I show you. Okay, it's time to paint the road wheels on this guy. This is going to be... Unfortunately, this guy and the Puma didn't ever serve. None of them served in the same unit. Oh well. Said of all the times I've played World War II games, there's only one person I've ever played with that really enjoyed playing the Germans just a little too much. I'm going to leave that there. He enjoyed playing the Germans a little too much. You know, he's not a current person that plays. You know, because they had cool stuff, but they were rat bastards. You know, they were masters of propaganda. I was looking through some pictures of trying to find some camouflage schemes for this stuff, and there's some guys that there's photos of them, and they're really bad folks because they're SS guys. And they're like freaking runway model type people. I'm just saying that they're like really well dressed. I'm not talking about the guys that wore the black uniforms. I'm talking about like the combat uniforms. There's some badass looking dudes, but they're horrible people. You know, because you could say, oh, okay, we could go round and round about the clean Wehrmacht. I don't believe the Wehrmacht was clean, okay, but maybe some people. Nobody in the SS was clean. I'm sorry. You know, they have to do like some kind of weird ceremony and shit like that. And, you know, the guy that's in charge of them looks like a fucking rat, you know. I don't believe in the SS are just dirt bags. Oh, and by the way, speaking of dirt bags, I was going through my figures just yesterday and I started painting an SS guy. And I don't know how long ago this was, probably 30 years ago. And I did kind of like a smock on him. But he'll need to be cleaned up. But I still have not finished an SS guy. You got a potential problem. Saturday game night. When too many people, more than usual, because there's no way they all show up. But then the RSVPs start rolling in and you start to sweat. You got a big area. I will play anywhere in World War II. Doesn't matter to me. Hell, I'll even play Soviets, and I even wear the hat and speak in bad Russian accent, comrade. Soviets are people too. Well, when too many people RSVP, guess what? Now you get to choose who you want to show up or not. So I know your game room is like incredible. What's the rest of your house look like, Rick? I mean, I know you have a Lego room, but you can close that off. Do you have like game stuff all over your house, or you just have like a normal house and it's like, oh, you're a gamer person. Okay, well, you can take the other tour that goes to other places. Like, if the guy that if you have somebody that comes in and is trying to sell you something, they sit down on a couch, will they know you're a gamer? The only way I would play Dungeons and Dragons are with, first of all, with adults that, and with one of those dry erase boards and with like miniatures. The miniatures wouldn't have to be painted, just so you can get the spacing between stuff right. The difference in potential games: 4-5 play, 2 bad games, 6 bigger difference, some plus basically all party games, and that's where my issue lies. Okay, but there are good party games. Okay, and I'm going to recommend one to you that is freaking awesome. If you don't know about it already, get ready to take notes. I know you have a PlayStation, okay? I'm not a PlayStation person, I'm an Xbox person. They make this for both. It is a series of games called Jackbox. And you play with your phone. Use a phone as a controller. And some of the games are freaking awesome. Because I actually like party games, okay? The problem is a lot of people... A lot of people can't handle some of those games. Yep, that's fun. You played it? Jackbox, yeah. We've got 4 or 5 of them. And I love playing them. Not all the games on them are good, but Quiplash is freaking great. I like that kind of stuff. But I can't find people to even play those things. They don't have to be, simulations. The rest of your house is not gamery. Okay. So you have the room for the occult stuff. I know lots of people that I've invited over to play those type of games. They don't want to play them, and it's a good way to be creative. I mean, or Cards Against Humanity. I love playing Cards Against Humanity. I'm going to let the players pick what setting they play in and which rule set they want to use. Rick should run a game and everybody has to be human. Suck on that, bitches. Because you got a bunch of people that don't like playing humans. It never occurred to me to play someone that's not a human. I don't play role-playing games. I did when I was 14, but I'll play fantasy-type games. I played World of Warcraft. That's been a long time ago. I've never not played a human. Why would I not want to play a human? We're like the freaking best, right? Yes, I'm a human supremacist. Because for starters, that's the only species there really is, okay? The other stuff is just make believe in your freaking, I want to be like half dragon. Dragons aren't for real, dude, okay? I'm a human supremacist. Yep. You go back and forth with a friend of mine on exactly that he would rather not play at all if he had to be human. What the? And I would rather not play if human wasn't an option. Yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to play a blue skinned something or another. I want to be, I want to be a person, I don't get it. You should ask that person, if you believe in reincarnation, would you want to be reincarnated as a human or like, a dog or something like that? A tiger? Well, I know what the name of the next villain I run is. Oh, I hope it's me. And the other thing I don't get, I encountered this last weekend. It was the second weekend of the Diablo 4 beta test. It ran okay. I just basically wanted to go to max out the character to 25. There's like a free unlock or something. You got like a wolf pet or some bullshit when the game comes out. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I played it some. It wasn't like it's addictive or anything. It's, I just did it a little bit and like, oh, okay, I disconnected. Okay, I'll go online now, because it's not like it was working 100%. But these people that run around, and they had these dumbass freaking names for the character, I mean, when I name my character, it's a name that goes with the setting that I'm playing, not like Butt Munch 74, like, first of all, nobody should have a number in your name, Tony will be the next villain. He wants to eradicate all non-humans. Religula. You're calling dibs on that name for dicey depths. Yeah. I'm a human supremacist. You better believe I am. I don't like movies or venues where, humans are bad. Yes, there's bad humans. There's just always been bad humans. So freaking fight them, Not like, okay, well, everybody that's not humans happens to be good. I got news for you. If those cute little lizards grew up to be big, guess what you get? You get freaking Jurassic Park, okay? Yes, there's bad people. I don't like shows and movies that have, the downfall of humanity. I'm like, you need to fight that, okay? That's like a fight worth fighting. Like, if we don't do this, all humans are going to die. Yeah, we got to fight this, Slayer of the non-human. That's right. The human supremacist. So we're watching an episode of Night Court, and in this episode is a Halloween episode. And if you don't know what Night Court is, well, then you're just not going to be able to follow what I'm about to say. So everybody's looking for a costume. Dan apparently does not have one, and basically Harry told him, "Hey, listen, you got to have one this year." And he's like trying to get one at the last minute, and he's on the phone with a guy. I says, "I don't know, you got something that's like pretty conservative, like Emperor Caligula or something like that?" And my daughter goes, I said, "Who's Caligula?" And I'm like, "They don't teach you guys anything in school. They don't teach you guys anything in school." I said, "Only the worst emperor." So I'm thinking, Who do you guys think is the worst emperor? Caligula right off the bat, especially if you've seen the movie. Okay? I don't think Nero comes close. I think Caligula is the worst guy, easily. There's apparently like multiple versions of that movie. I saw it like I was around 20 or 21. I was at some party that had it playing. I mean, I learned all kinds of stuff I didn't want to learn. There's stuff there I didn't even know about. I'm like, but the thing that struck me the most about that movie was because gory death stuff is really what gets to me. Like I'm affected by people that are killed in weird ways, like beheadings and stuff like that. I remember this one scene where they bury these people up to their heads, and they got this some contraption. It's almost like a lawnmower that comes in and chops all their heads off and stuff like that. And that's what I remember. And I'm sure it was super cheesy, but I remember shit like that. For entertainment. Because when you hear about all these people through history that get hanged, I just don't think, and I'm not saying that I want to be killed that way, but I'm just thinking beheading is just so much more. It's freaking graphic. Like, okay, your body's here. Oh, and by the way, some of your body's not there. It's over here too. It's like that kind of stuff affects me. Like I said before, we never know what we're going to be talking about here. Most of this gets covered up by the dry brushing anyway, so there's no point in being super anal retentive. I grab some dice. I'm going to generate Tony's Dicey Depths boss level alter ego stats. Ooh, I want a high charisma. Imagine being at a hanging and someone's head comes off from being hung. It's happened. Or imagine being at a hanging and the guy lives. That's happened. Now what do? You get a free pass? Hang him again! Some stuff affects you differently as a kid. I watched that, finished watching that movie that Kevin said was affected him as a kid. And as an adult, it's a stupid movie, and it's not even moderately frightful. But I get it as a kid. You're affected by stuff as you're. I remember in school, I watched that, and some of you guys may know what I'm talking about when I bring this up. That old black and white film called The Lottery. Where it's all about somebody draws lots and they sacrifice somebody and they get stoned, and it's just black and white. It's really low tech. And it affected me as a kid, where you get killed by your own peers. That kind of stuff like affects you. Yeah, Caligula's the worst one. Has Malcolm McDowell ever played somebody who's not an asshole? I'm just wondering. I haven't seen him in a lot of movies, but I tried watching that Clockwork Orange. That was like I didn't do the. I don't even know what the drugs are that would make that makes sense. So I'm like, I'm out. Hey, I remembered an actor's name. I brought up an actor and I remembered what his name was. I always forget that. Well, they're not a big part of my life. I don't sit around thinking about them all the time. I'm not a huge movie person to begin with. I'm not a huge movie person to begin with because, you're just watching a movie. There's no way you can choose your thing. You guys watch that Netflix show Black Mirror? What was it called? Where you got to choose the ending. What was it called? Bandersnatch. That sounds like Planet of the Apes. That bother. I have not seen the original show or the new movie, but that ending would have been pretty cool if I'd seen it for the first time. If I had watched The Village and didn't know the ending, that would have blown my mind. Because I don't read ahead. I don't try to figure shit out. You will be a paladin. Lawful good for you. What is your favorite alignment? I like chaotic good, to be honest with you. I don't like playing people that are evil. But sometimes the rules need to be broken, damn it. Because they're written by people that shouldn't have written them in the first place. True neutral seems like it'd be like, okay, I did a good deed. Let me go and sell cookies for Satan now. It's almost like, you don't have to help both sides if one of the sides is evil, dude. Rick, I know you commented on it. I think you commented on it. That Dungeons and Dragons movie, I have a hard time believing that that's going to be worth a damn. Lawful neutral. I don't like the idea of lawful anything. Chaotic good. That's like, I know what's good, and I don't need you telling me. I know what the right thing to do is, and I don't need you telling me how to do it. Okay? Because you're crooked. Well, just because something flops doesn't mean you won't enjoy it. Didn't didn't the one with the bugs flop? What's it called? Starship Troopers? Didn't Starship Troopers flop? And I enjoyed it. I freaking laughed my ass off. Now, is it hokey? Sure. Did I think it was going to be hokey? Yes. Okay, so no problem. It's got to be better than those other Dungeons and Dragons movies. McDowell was a World War I British fighter pilot in the movie Aces High. I haven't seen it. Does it have something to do with Hasbro or Wizard of the Coast? Hasbro bought what? They bought Avalon Hill and then shut everything down. Like, dude, man. The hell, man? I got excited about painting the shovel and I shouldn't have painted it yet. Oh well, now we'll do the tracks. Now we got to get the wet palette out. So we got the whole gang out here. So what is a movie that you guys like, that lots of people like, but you just happen to not like it? And I have a movie that I have in mind, and no, it's not Kelly's Heroes. But there is a movie that every time it gets mentioned, everybody likes it except you. And you just don't get it. You don't understand why everybody can like this movie so much. What is that movie? Wrong answers only. Oh, man. Justin, welcome back. I know there's a lot of trepidation sounding with the whole OGL has been involvement. Okay, honestly, had me both laughing and caring about the characters the whole time. That's what I have a hard time caring about the characters. Hope there more. Princess Bride. So Princess Bride is a movie that everybody loves, which I agree with you. Just about, and I'm saying 90%. 90% of the people think favorably of Princess Bride, and you didn't. It's extremely slow. It has some funny parts in it, but okay. Jerry Maguire movie is for simps. Well, it can't be that bad. It's got what's her face in it. I forgot that I had a thing for her. Kelly Preston. Man, she was hot. That's one of those things I forget about. My daughter watched it again. I've only seen it one time. And it's funny, I watched it, and the first thing I thought of is, I remember Zellweger being cuter than she is. So, I only saw it one. I only watch movies one time, generally. Even my favorite movie of all time, I may have only seen 3 times. Maybe. I've watched certain parts of it, but sit there and watch something that I already know how it's going to turn out. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff to watch. I would say Marvel movies. You know what? I'm not watching any of them anymore. And you know what it is? They all try to tie in, and I'm getting a headache. And I gave up when I started watching, what's the one, the second Doctor Strange. It's like, what kind of drugs did you fucking guys do? Like, it's just all over the place. And I actually liked the first one. And I thought it was going to be like, this is not going to be any good. But, I actually liked the first one a lot. I don't know, that counts because I'm just not a superhero fan in general, so they aren't for me. Yeah. I think Princess Bride is actually a better choice because most people think really, really positive about that, and if you're not into that, no, lots of people dislike The Patriot. Let me go get a soda and I'll tell you what it is. And the wife came back too, so I had to stop and do that. As long as it might be. Biggest thing I criticized about the Patriot. The thing I disliked about the Patriot is the same thing I disliked about Braveheart. Is it really messes with history and makes it like really one-sided. And when you do that to me, I want the side you want me to hate to win, just to spite you. Anyone like to use Army Quick Painter Quick Shade? I guess I think it's the same as the Agrax. I was looking for other equivalents that are not as expensive as this, because this is just absurd. And they went from this size to this size and, charge more. You're a sucker for revenge. I like revenge movies too. Hacking, Berserk and hacking and slashing. You said that, you know what I think remind me of? Legends of the Fall. And I hated that. When you start acting like, I hated that movie. That movie I'll never watch again. Oh, you think the Army Painter one is superior? I might have to buy a bottle of it and try it out. What's the worst thing that can happen? I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Army Painter paints, though. They behave weird. They behave strangely. That doesn't mean I won't buy any. I have some of them. I just, I might give that a try. Does it come in anything bigger than this size, or are they pretty much always? I think they have in a big tin, don't they? Hold on, let me get that. Remember that thing you used to get at the paint store? Open up those cans. It was like a shoehorn for a can. Okay, let's paint the tracks now. So the movie that everybody raves about, and I can't stand. I've tried to watch it only one time and made it 5 minutes or so. Well, not carrying. See, I would say the Harry Potter movies, but not everybody likes those. I don't like that Potter shit. What's it called again? Shit, I forgot what it was called. Oh, the 10's a different formula? Okay. I'll give it a shot when I run out of this stuff. I'm sure it'll work fine for what I'm using it for. Spaceballs. Spaceballs. Everybody freaking loves Spaceballs. And I think it's an abortion for Star Wars fans. For original Star Wars fans. It's the only one that counts. More than Kelly's Heroes. Because, you know what? I'm going to watch Kelly's Heroes again when it comes around. I am watching Spaceballs. And I'm sure there are other ones, but Army Painter Quick Shade is cheaper. Oh, it's definitely. And it works nice. I get the soft tone. Yeah, but which one's equivalent to the Agrax? I think it's strong tone, right? I think it's what it's called. I looked it up the other day because I didn't think anybody was going to carry this. Because we have a bunch of stores in town that no longer have like Games Workshop stuff. Way back in the day when I used to work at a hobby store, way back in the day, we're talking like early 90s, the shtick with Games Workshop stuff is they forced you to order a certain amount of stuff. So it wasn't like you could just restock a few things. You had to like order like a shit ton of stuff, or they wouldn't even deal with you. So even back then, they were like, "You're going to run your business how we want to, or you can go fly a kite," The other movie that was extremely popular, although I wouldn't say that everybody liked it, Dark Tone. Okay, I'll have to try it out. It works great for a while. I can make my own, but At some point I got to sub some stuff out, or I'm going to be my own slave kind of thing. Um, that everybody loved was freaking Napoleon Dynamite. I just don't. I didn't even chuckle once. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I made like a half hour. I'm like, I'm not getting this shit. I'm not getting this time back. This is absurd. I don't think that awkward pauses makes comedy. What do I think of the Gladiator movie? Okay, so, and there's only one Gladiator movie. I saw it in a movie theater before I was an Ancients person. GOAT movie. You mean the greatest of all time movie? There's a lot of things that movie did well. Well, let me just say it this way. I don't have a problem with a lot. Considering it's coming out of Hollyweird, I don't care that it wasn't a real story. A historical person that says that. It's not important. He was cast incredibly well, and I don't mean Joaquin, because I think a lot of people could have played Joaquin's character okay. I think that Russell Crowe was cast extremely well for that. It actually may be the only thing I really, really like him in. It was a revenge movie. Gotta like that, right? I thought it was excellent. I really thought it was excellent. The battle scene at the beginning was good. And that was before I was into Ancients. I own it. Not that I've watched it more than a couple times. I don't think it's overly gory. When somebody gets beheaded, you kind of have to see blood. It's one of those things that you can't be avoided. And my daughter watched it. It's a rated R movie. My daughter watched it 4 years ago. And I didn't have a problem with it because it really didn't have any. It didn't have any sexual perverse content in it. It may have had it, but it didn't show any of it. And because that's the problem with a lot of rated R movies when she was getting older. Now it's like she can watch it, but it's going to be like a movie we're not going to watch together. Like you can watch a movie like. Not another teen movie, but we ain't watching that movie together. You know what I'm saying? You watch it by yourself or watch it over here, Like she was asking me about, there's a scene in, there's a line in Community that we're both watching. We're not watching it at the same time, but we're watching the series together. And one of the characters says, the guy that's played by, who's the talk show dude? John Oliver. He says, "Oh, I'm basically British Jason Biggs." So she's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "That's the guy that's in American Pie." And she'd never seen it. And I said, "Well, watch that movie, but let's not watch it together." Can I not shift enter in this chat? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I am not a technology person. Is that something you're supposed to be able to do? But I thought Gladiator was really good. I think Kingdom of Heaven was a missed opportunity in that, as somebody who's into historical stuff, and somebody says, we're going to make a Crusades movie, I'm like, cool. Let's do the First Crusade, right? Because it's fascinating. And there are no good guys in the First Crusade. It's just a mess and switching alliances and things go sideways. But they want to make a buck and they want to not necessarily push an agenda, but they want to do a lesson. And I just like history because it's interesting. The only lesson in history is, people are animals, and they always have been, and they fight each other, and Stuff like that happens. But I'm not. Well, you gotta like prove you gotta teach a lesson. So that's why they went with what they went with. But the first Crusade would have been incredible, just absolutely incredible. So, but as far as historical themed things go, Gladiator is one of the best things out there that's ever come out of Hollywood. You see the movie The Eagle. It's Roman. I do not like. I did not like the Eagle movie. First of all, a couple things. I don't care for what's his face, Captain Allneck, Channing Tatum. I don't care for him. I did like Centurion because Centurion has a bunch of people in the cast that I do care for, and it has beautiful scenery. But it's not as good as Gladiator. But it's pretty darn good. Again, made up story. Doesn't matter, you know. I think Centurion's pretty good. Relugar, the Slayer of the non-human attack. Well, I don't know what these numbers mean. Fury, attack, explode, impact. First heated attack deals 2 wounds until targets your Lotus remaining hit points. She actually is very cute. The girl has a terrible name. She has a terrible name, but she is very cute. I agree with you. I never even heard about her until I saw that movie. Yeah, I don't care for the Russian chick, the one with no tongue. She didn't do anything for me, but the Poots girl's cute. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. You know, I like stuff that takes a historical setting. This happened in this place. These things were involved, and then go from there. You know, you can kind of wing it because if it's good, it gets people maybe interested in like reading more about. Oh, let me find out about that legion that disappeared, or you know, whatever. Yeah, I didn't care for the eagle. What other good Roman thing is there? Other than Rome. Rome is great. See, they did Rome right. You know, they put stuff in there that we think happened, and then they filled in the blank with these 2 characters that also were real, but there was no dialogue between them, you know, and just kind of filled in the blanks. I think it worked really well. I just don't like some of the casting choices they chose for that, but hey, nobody contacted me about it, you know. I am not a fan of Kieran Hines. I don't think he's a good cast for Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, his number one attribute, well, was charisma. And I don't think Kieran Hines has any charisma at all. And he speaks weird. He has a strange mouth movement, you know. He might be a good actor. He just doesn't do anything for me. I would have cast somebody else. They could have done worse, don't get me wrong, but, you know. I like Rome, but I think the show is way too smutty. Yeah, well, that's what you like, Nordic. They made it for you. They put some of that stuff in there to get the girls to watch it, you know. It's funny that it wasn't too political, you know, because that period was extremely political. And they didn't overpower it with that. There's a couple characters in there I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand the Octavian character as a kid. That guy needed a spanking. Well, so I can't think of anything else Rome wise that's worth seeing. I had never seen Cleopatra until I watched it with my daughter, and she was like 7 or something like that. And we sat through the whole thing, and it was okay. It was okay to watch it once. You know, a movie I couldn't finish watching was the one with Garfield plays a surgeon. Hacksaw Ridge. I was just bored to tears. One of our players, Scott, does not like the plot device of time travel. He hates it. And what I hate is alternate dimensions. That just like, no. You know, I actually don't have a problem in going back and, going back in time and changing this one. But this whole thing that multiple things are going on at one time is just like makes my head hurt. I actually like the butterfly effect slash Back to the Future type of time plot device. I think it makes you think. Personally, I have no interest in seeing a movie about a religious zealot no matter what he did. Which one were we talking about? A Jedi movie? You're not a fan of the Jedi? I'm not. I would not be a good Jedi. Oh, well, you can't get emotional about things. You can't care about anybody. Why even bother living then? You know? Ridge. Okay. Was he a religious zealot? Did I ever watch Dark Shadows where in the later seasons they went into a parallel universe and then went back in time in that universe? No. No. Was he a religious zealot? I thought he was just a pacifist. I feel like there was less religion in that than what's that movie? Gods and Generals? What was all about Stonewall Jackson? That was like a freaking revival movie. I'm like, get me out of here. You love the movie Apocalypse Now. So I've seen it one time, and I'm willing to watch it again. I like Platoon. I saw it relatively recently again on a flight and liked it. And I'm not really a Vietnam movie kind of person, but I liked it. I think the Jedi are weak-minded individuals who fear what they don't understand. I just don't care about that Force crap. It's just not the appeal of it. Give me a good blaster any day. Wise man once said, Hoffman Samatobin. Welcome back. Oh, I'm doing grand. Painting the cute little Lukes. Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows sounds like something they would play like late in the evening with Elvira or something like that. This week on Dark Shadows. No? Well, it sounds like to me. Dr. Julia Hoffman. Who is Dr. Julia Hoffman? All right. Let's. Okay, we can't. We're to the point where we need to do the dry brushing on these two. But I'm going to go ahead and do the null on him, and that's done until I do the dry brushing because we got to figure out numeration on these guys. The numbering. We're going to hand paint the ones on the Lukes. And I don't know what I'm going to do on the Panther yet. I've tried like figuring out if I want to use decals or hand paint, and I don't know. I've just been punting that for a day. Dr. Julia Hoffman. Sounds like somebody in the Saw series. I don't do horror movies, but I watched all those movies. And the first one's incredible. The first one is really a good movie. Except the jump scares with a freaking pig mask. She was originally introduced as a doctor who was caring for a victim of a vampire, but then eventually found the vampire, tried to cure him, and then gave up and became his ally. Ah. The old... Oh my gosh. The old whatchamacallit routine, like Margot Robbie, whoever the hell she plays, the Joker's girlfriend. God, I can't remember anything anymore. You know what I'm talking about. Harley Quinn. The old Harley Quinn thing. If you can't beat him, join him. What is your favorite or least favorite Saw trap? Man, Here's the reason I could watch that movie. First of all, the first one's incredible. The rest of them is like, you gotta see them. All that stuff that they did to those people, none of those people deserved that, obviously. I was a little extreme. That's almost like, we're gonna put you to death. What? Because you didn't pay a parking ticket, you know? But all those people did things that are worse than anything I've ever done. So I'm like, I'm good, you know. They're not gonna come after me. I've never done anything like those guys. The one with the freaking shotgun shells around the freaking neck, man, I was like waiting for that to happen. I was waiting for the shoe to drop on that one. That was the second one. You know, the first one was good. The rest of them sucked because I don't like this whole copycat and the idea that... Sorry, I'm going to spoil it for you guys. I don't like the idea that, you know, you're chasing this maniac and all of a sudden you want to take over his, you know, what he's doing. I just don't buy into that crap. You know, that just seems way too hokey. But it was kind of like a weird curiosity. It was like watching a train wreck, you know? But the first one's incredible. Never saw the Saw movies, never going to. I can't handle that stuff. I can. I can't handle demonic stuff. I can't handle, you know, jump scare things. I don't like demonic shit at all. Because then the next thing you know, you can't walk through a room that's dark. because your mind's thinking about that kind of stuff. 1,225 episodes? Wow. What was stuff that you guys saw as kids that scared the crap out of you? That if you watched it now or if you've seen it now, you're like, I don't see what the big deal is. What's something you saw as a young adult or kid that you're like, that just freaked you the hell out? And you've watched it again as an adult, and you're just like, man, I was stupid. It's not you're stupid, it's just you're a kid. You expect things to be a certain way, and some movies just kind of turn all that on its head just to mess with you. You know? Just like that formal board thing you recommended. You're a kid, you take people as their word, and the only guy you count on, this is the only person you know, and he goes and freaking backstabs you. You can't be trusted. Why can't I do demonic? I don't know. And I don't believe in that shit. It's just... It was going for more of a while. Freddy Krueger. Never seen those movies. The Brave Little Toaster movie. When the AC unit basically had a heart attack and exploded. When the toaster's having a nightmare and the fireman clown started attacking. What the hell? The wolf thing, a never-ending story. Interesting. I've only seen that one time. I don't remember a wolf. And this is not to put anybody down. I'm just saying that, there's things that affect you as kids that don't affect you as an adult. I could think of two things right off the bat that are very memorable. And they're both things that... They aren't things that I shouldn't have been watching. In other words, it's not like I got freaked out by a rated R movie when I was 10. Well, I did. That's actually one of them, but that wasn't one of the two that I was going to say. That was Halloween. I remember seeing Halloween when I was 10 years old, the original movie. And, all I can remember is, the freaking knife, getting stabbed through the guy and he was stuck to the door. And, I couldn't go to sleep, And those kind of movies don't affect me now. And I actually watched that movie this Halloween again for the first time, and I'm like, But anyhow, times change. I'm not 10 years old anymore. Hearing you read it aloud does make it sound ridiculous, but man, as a kid, it scared the heck out of me. Brave Little Toaster movie? That sounds like okay. I played a game called Fatal Frame as a kid, and it scared the crap out of me. There was the other thing I already mentioned. They made me watch that lottery movie as a kid, and that freaked me the hell out. And it's just black and white, and it's and there's doesn't really even show anything. But that's actually affected a lot of people. My wife remember watching that as a kid, and she was like, yeah, I didn't like that at all. But she doesn't watch anything moderately conflicting. There was a cartoon that I was really into at the time. And it was an old cartoon by the time it came out. And someone told me it was either the first or one of the first animes ever. And when we lived in Alabama in the late 70s, they were playing this all the time. It was a cartoon that had been dumbed down for U.S. audiences. And in the U.S., it was called Battle of the Planets. And in Japan, it was called, I don't know, Ninja Team Gotcha Man or something like that. And it's basically these kids that have these superpowers, and they turn into, I forget what the story is, but somehow they got these superpowers, and they all wear outfits that are like birds or whatever. And what I liked it What I liked about it is that it stopped the planet from alien invaders that were going to take over the Earth. But they always did it with some huge machine. It was always a huge machine shaped like some creature that is already on this Earth. So like a big vulture or an octopus, or but it was like a huge mechanical octopus that was like attacking the city, that kind of stuff, right? Ninja Team Gotcha Man. Yeah, it's actually GA, but the rest of it's spelled the same. And this particular episode, there was this giant mummy that was attacking an airport. I remember, it's a giant mummy. So they come in, kind of like a Godzilla movie, like it's attacking an airport. It's freaking huge. It's like, 150 feet tall or something like that. It's like a mechanical mummy or something. They send this thing like, whatever it is they're going to do. So they're bringing the tanks, they're bringing the Air Force, all that kind of stuff. They haven't called in, the team hasn't showed up there because, they're the ones that can solve everything. But, there's the standard military of Japan or wherever the hell this place was came in to attack it. This huge mummy. And, a mummy, it's made of cloth. All the cloth and stuff burns on them. And it burns off, and what's left, and you can look this up on the internet. It's on YouTube or whatever. It's like this demon figure. And I remember seeing it, it's like, it was freaking scary. I'm like, let's see, 8 years old? I guess it was like 8 years old. It freaked me out. It was like this huge freaking demon, whatever, 200-foot tall demon. Not a candy ass creature like a raptor that I'm scared of. Who cares about that? And then the last thing I'm going to mention that had that effect on me, and I mentioned this the other night, is there was this show in the early 80s that was a ripoff of the Indiana Jones thing called Tales of the Gold Monkey. And they made like 2 or 3 seasons of it. And the whole hotel, one of the hotels at Universal Studios, Florida, is a lot of the theme is from that in the South Pacific and stuff like that. So it's like an Indiana Jones type of thing in the South Pacific in the same time period before World War II. And you got the Nazi spy, and you got, that pretends to be a priest. And, you got Japanese guys that are sneaking around, and, plus all the other motley of, stuff going on. The sidekick that's always drunk, that kind of stuff. And one of the episodes, early on, I actually saw it. I started watching it. I think I got through 1 season, and it's hokey. I think it's worth watching because there's little bit of nostalgia for me, But there was this one scene where this Nazi patrol is putzing around in the South Pacific, and they come across some island where they're looking for some idol that was some relic that Hitler had to have, and it was all made of gold, and it was some idol of some monkey or whatever. And on this island, there was all these man-eating freaking apes, and they were people that were in monkey suits, but they weren't gorilla-looking. They were like angry mandrill-type baboons, and they were like really freaking fast. And I remember they eventually, Nazis being Nazis, they shoot one of them just to have a good time, and that just woke up the freaking hornet's nest. And they just came out of everywhere and just tore people to shreds. And I remember seeing that as freaking a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old, whatever I was, and I really freaked me out, But that's the memorable things I can think of as a kid that was just like, the tornado in Wizard of Oz gave me nightmares as a child. I've had lots of dreams with a tornado in them. I've had lots of dreams. It's a frequent thing. I haven't had one in a while, but I've probably had 20, 30 dreams with tornadoes in them. Of course, during those years, I lived in Chicago and tornadoes were plentiful. The child kidnapper. There are children here. I can smell them. That's a great freaking movie. That is a excellent movie. So the backstory of that is apparently people in England hated his English accent, Dick Van Dyke's accent, so badly that they just said, okay, you're gonna play somebody, just do your normal accent from, I think he's from Kansas or something. Not Kansas, Missouri or something like that. Just do your regular speaking voice and we'll just deal with it. That's really a good movie. You know, it's a child movie. I think it's a great movie, you know, by the same author that did all the 007 stuff. Yeah, I remember being scared by that too. Grew up a little in Oklahoma and tornadoes were always a thing. I can smell them. I think that my brother was scared of him too. That was like his favorite movie growing up. So I've seen it many, many times. Great movie. And I saw it again probably 3 years ago. Great movie. It's okay, it's a kid's movie. All right, next question. I thought about posting this on Facebook. What programming, you know, we all had stuff that we watched with our dads. What shows remind you intrinsically of spending time with your dad watching them? And my dad didn't watch a whole lot of different things, but, you know. And I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat what my examples were. Battle of the Planets was awesome. We watched it regularly. The two things I remember watching with my dad. Remember, my dad didn't watch sports or westerns or none of that stuff. And I watched war movies, but I really didn't watch war movies with my dad. The two things I remember watching with him is cartoons. Love Johnny Quest. The old one, not whatever the hell it is now. Love Johnny Quest and Hogan's Heroes. That's the two things. Andy Griffith. I never cared for it. I never cared for it. And not just because it's black and white. I wonder what my daughter's going to remember me watching with her. I don't know. I watch a lot of things with her. Jason and the Argonauts and Godzilla. Never seen Jason and the Argonauts. I used to watch all the Sinbad movies, though. I don't mean the comedian. Is he still around? I remember it's the Sinbad. That's not what Sinbad looks like. All right. We got to put a Balkenkreuz on there, and we got to put some numbers on there. And the numbers, I think, are going to go back here towards the back of the turret. That's where I've seen them. What's the back of this turret look like? Oh, that one's going to be have to be kind of creative with that one. Let's do a Panzerkampfwagen. Let's do a search here. Oh, actually, before I do that, because I don't want to run out of time, meaning I've got to get this stuff done. So these guys are basically done other than weathering and numbering. For the most part. Oh, we got to do scratches on this guy. I forgot. Scratch and sniff. What will bribe you watching Jason and the Argonauts? I got to see it. It's got to be available somewhere for free. I haven't avoided it. It's just, you know, when I was a kid, you watched whatever they were playing. Why do you think every Sunday morning I watched not Battle of the Planets, Lost in Space? Because I thought it was good? No. Why have I seen episodes of the Flintstones? Flintstones sucked. It's because it was the only thing that was on, you know? I didn't have a million choices like the kids do now, you know? So it was never on, you know? It was never on. HBO boxing of the late 80s and OCC and Jesse James chopper builds. I'm not sure what OCC is. Would it be Orange County Choppers? I would watch Jason and the Argonauts. I just haven't seen it because it wasn't playing. You know? That's why I've seen the war movie. That's why I never saw Rat Patrol or Combat as a kid. They didn't play it on any of the channels that were here. You know? Watched a lot of Hogan's Heroes. Every war movie they played was always Battle of the Bulge. What's the other one that's my go-to one? Guns and Navarone. I always played those. So you don't need to bribe me. I just need to have it on, you know. Orange County Choppers, okay. Orange County is Orlando, or I guess LA is in Orange County too, isn't it? If it is, that means both Disneys are in Orange County. Interesting. Very interesting. You into motorcycles? Then I take it. I had to use a bicycle for transportation, so yeah, I don't want to go somewhere and get Mother Nature rain on me. I know I put this stuff down. What happened to it? Did it dry that quick? All right. Not sure. I'm originally from Detroit. Detroit. Yeah, lots of people are like, I watch John Wayne stuff with my dad. John Wayne did westerns. My dad wasn't into westerns. I didn't watch them. Chicks in boots and lace. What do you offer me as a bribe to watch Jason the Argonauts? Shouldn't have to bribe somebody. I hear it's a good movie. I bet I'd like it. I'd maybe be like, okay, this is kind of a dated movie, but I can appreciate. I like all that claymation stuff. Boots and lace. I bet the lace is black. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've seen it enough times I don't need to watch it to see that picture. Into biker babes, huh? You ever see Falling Down or American History X? I have seen both. I have seen Falling Down. I've seen American History X once, many, many years ago. And I saw Falling Down many, many years ago and rewatched it again within the last 4 years. It's funny, they both have neo-Nazi stuff in it. Interesting. I remembered Falling Down being better than it was. It was just really, really slow. Biker babes, hell yeah. All right, I'm gonna get myself into trouble. Let's see how quick I can do this. Bear with me. No, we need to speed up this process by doing this. Holy smokes. Just bear with me. It's worth it. Trust me. You got to have faith. Jeez, it would have been easier to do it off my phone. You say biker babes, and the first thing I think of is that Queen song. And that is a freaking great song. The Fat Bottom Girl song. That is a great freaking song. Good Lord. All right. All right, we need to speed this process up. Here we go. Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is not worth watching. Nah, it's worth watching once. Man, you know what surprised me about Taxi Driver? Man, what's her face looked hot as hell in that. What's her name? The girl from Moonlighting. She looked great in that. If I do close all, is this going to screw this video up? It does not. Okay, cool. Cool, we can do that. Cool. Come on, no fans of Community on here? Hold on a second here. Boy, I'm going. This talking about this is a long way to go around something. Well, you brought it up. Okay. Training Days and Collateral movie. I haven't seen either one of those two. Yeah, what was the other movie that you said that was the Falling Down? What was the other one? American History X. Should I watch that again? I know. All I remember is about somebody getting curbed. Could have probably just went about this and gone and found this easier. Come on. Sketchbook image is fine. Okay, now Taxi Drivers, American History X. Okay, so here's, let's see what do we have here as an image here? Okay, Turk. Okay, we're going to replace this. So my comment would be, I'm not into biker babes at all. Good Lord. I got way too many pictures. I need to reduce some of them. Unless they look like this. You're welcome. Anyhow. That was a long time to try to get the point across. I guess that was a good thing. That looks like an icon that would be like a screaming meanie. How did you get a picture of girlfriend? You wouldn't be able to handle it. You wouldn't be able to handle that. Is it late? I don't know. That's one of those things that they weren't wearing anything, they'd show less kind of thing, you know? All right. Panzerkampfwagen 2L. Let's find a picture of that. Panzer 2L. And I don't care about the paint schemes. I care about where the hell do they have the little Balkenkreuzes and so forth. Okay, this one has it in the center of this. We're not putting it there because both of those little boxes have little details. And that's just sadistic to try to put it there. We can't move it above that because there's a vision block. Also sadistic. Yeah, on this model, it's got it right in the middle of those boxes, which is a great place to put it, except there's little X's going through them, and that would just be, do any of these have it on a turret? Well, that one's between the, that's just too small. It just won't, I guess I could make it really, really small. I don't see any of these that have it on the turret. That does not bode well. Okay, numbers. We have 4-digit numbers, 4121. We have 4134. Why are numbers so high on a vehicle that they only made like 100 of? I think they're trying to compensate for something. Damn Nazis. $41.31. There's a video of one guy that has one in working order. That's pretty cool. I watched that one earlier today. It's always interesting to see what the heck these things sound like. You know, you don't get any kind of idea what these things sound like when you're. All right, what number does this thing have? Well, I'm going to put my own damn number on it. And it looks like the common denominator is a red one with white outline. And I'm just going to hand paint it because I don't have any ones that are that small. Oh, here's a 215. I like that one. Oh, and this one has a cross in between the two boxes. Now we're going to make a really tiny one and put it behind that vision block there, where those are. All right. Am I ever going to do planes? So, yeah, I could see doing planes. As an objective, I had planes in my room as a kid. The problem with planes is when you do planes, you have this huge, you have a cogitation of whether or not you're going to put the landing gear up or down. Because sometimes the planes look weird with the landing gear down. You know? The first plane I'm doing is a Stuka. There's no doubt about it. I'm doing a Stuka. It was one of the first models I ever built. Probably my favorite plane because it looks wicked cool. Not because it was the best one. Certainly not because it was the best one. You play any kind of a flight simulator, those guys are sitting ducks. Only thing worse than a Stuka, a sitting duck, is something like a Kate torpedo bomber or something like that. That's just S going to get knocked out of the sky. All right, do we have any black and white that's alive? Probably not. Probably not. Oh. Lots of things over here in the white land that don't look like it. Resins and stuff like that look like it's white paint, and you turn them over and it's like, oh no, that's not paint at all. All right, we're going to have to use a brush of extreme confidence. And I don't know how I'm going to do this with this in the way. Jeez, it's late. On a school night. Yeah. These things take time. I like doing light gray first. It's a little bit more forgiving. All right, Hoffman, we'll see you later. I know a guy talking about movies and demonic shit that likes watching all kinds of demonic stuff. But then he won't get on a roller coaster. It's too scary. Like, what? We are a roller coaster family. And unless there's something physically wrong with you, like, if you throw up every time you get on one, and there's nothing you could work, there's nothing you can help about that, it's just how God made you. Yeah, you get a pass. But unless you're in that situation, when you were a kid, you were my age, they would make fun of you like you wouldn't believe. You're going to learn to freaking do it. School's out forever, that's right. I have Sushi Go Party, and it's a great game. We do have Sushi Go Party. And it's cute. And yes, that's important. We've played it lots of times. Yep. Yeah, and some things are cuter than they are yummy. Like, I don't really want to try nigiri. I just think it's just going to be slimy and... And people pick it up really quick, too. Pirate Flux. I've got the standard Flux and the Monty Python one. And I don't like the Monty Python because it has a lot of breaking a song for the. Look, I got news for you. I don't sing. You're welcome. I'm not good at singing. I don't want to be good at singing. I play a mean air guitar. That's about it. That's as musical as I get. I know people that don't want to speak and they don't have a problem singing in front of people, but they can't speak in front of them. I'm like, that's weird. That would be really, I find that really extremely uncomfortable to sit there and sing in front of people. My Python Holy Grail, Gladiator, Die Hard, Spaceball, Starship Troopers, or House of a Thousand Corpses. Which is the movie that was the one that, who's the director of the Lord of the Rings guy? And he got famous by making some gore thing, some gore film that's just like, they just brought like a tanker of freaking fake blood and just, that's just extreme. Dead Alive or something like that. I've seen clips of that. I'm like, that's just absurd, you know. I actually don't like those kind of horror movies because those kind of horror movies, like, bad stuff happens to people that don't deserve it. You know, like, hey, let's put some cheerleader in there and we'll have her massacred in a horrible way just because she's cute and, you know, and the director couldn't get laid, you know. Not cool, man. Bad vibes there. I don't care for Die Hard. You know what? I watched it recently, and I didn't care for it either. Stargate, huh? I watched that in the movie theater when it came out, and I watched it in the last 2 years with the daughter. I wasn't impressed. I'm not much of a science fiction person. Didn't they make a TV series, Stargate? When they killed Emily Kinney's character Beth off. There's only one cute girl on that show. Actually, the whatchamacallit's cute, but her accent's horrible. Whatever her name is. But you probably didn't watch it long enough to see it. I watched it through, like, the part where the pizza guy gets killed. That was long enough. Refuse to watch any movies with Jason Momoa. I didn't know there was a movie. Yeah. Who's in Stargate? Is that Scott Bakula? Is Scott Bakula in Stargate, or am I getting things mixed up? There's only one cute girl in Walking Dead, and her character's name was Sherry, and she was like in season. She was one of Negan's wives that escapes, and she's super cute. Yeah, so you watched it long enough to see her. Yeah, the Emily girl's cute, but I don't. It just seemed like her character was dumb. I'm just not attracted to dumb ladies. Sorry. My favorite character in the whole series, though, was the governor. Richard Dean Anderson. Okay. Okay. MacGyver. Okay. He plays Kurt Russell. Okay. Well, I don't dislike any of that. Well, I like Kurt Russell. I don't mind the MacGyver guy. Although, in a choice between matchsticks and frickin' Snickers or a firearm, this guy's choosing a firearm. No brainer there. What was his whole reason for not using firearms on his show? I mean, it was the 80s. Everybody used firearms. And there were no school shootings. There were no school shootings and firearms were everywhere. It's because the music was better. That's why. I don't think I've ever seen Escape from New York, and I should. I should watch both of the Escape movies back to back because I like Kurt Russell. I like Kurt Russell a lot, actually. How about that movie he was in that I saw relatively recently called, well, it's been out for a while, but I saw it relatively recently called, is it Breakdown? Where he breaks down and his wife gets sequestered and he's got to go try and, oh, well, son of a biscuit eater. I didn't do that. Well, I should do that. Yeah, well, he's got to go all Liam Neeson on his ass. Poor man's Liam Neeson. Again, a revenge movie. There are a few actors who I won't want to watch. Timothy Chalamet. Don't know who that is. Jason Momoa, Samuel. Really? You don't like Samuel Jackson? I like Samuel Jackson as long as he's not a Jedi. Adam Driver, yeah, he sucks. And that dude who played Poe, that's easy to avoid. He's easy to avoid. Isn't a guy from Guatemala or something like that? Whatever his name is. There's a lot of actors I won't watch. I'll still watch it, but I'm like, oh, they're in it. Johnny Depp's one of them. I've had enough of him. Enough of Johnny Depp. They should call people that are fans of Johnny Depp, they should call them Depp shits. But the guy who played Porkins, the X-Wing pilot. In which one? In which movie? Oh, the original guy, the host. Yeah, he sucks. Porkins. Yeah, the guy barely fit in he barely fit in the seat. How does that guy get in there? He doesn't fit in the driver's compartment. That's how the people are on the new Star Wars ride. They have it in Disney. Well, they have two of them. They have one of them that's like the Millennium Falcon Simulator. That one's pretty cool. But the other one that's Rise of the Resistance or whatever the hell it's called, they have a mixture of things that are part of the show that are, there's simulators. They have people walking around. Everybody that they have hired walking around, they were like the Empire's rejects. There is no way that they would have been able to pass a physical to serve the Empire. They are not physically They do not look like they would be on the Empire. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, you're not casting me as a bodybuilder kind of thing, Not everyone works in every role. Sorry. To Detroit Gray at lower him in. He's blah. I don't dislike him, but he's like another. He has no charisma. Porkins, huh? Well, that's his legitimate name. You could do stuff like that in the 70s and nobody had a problem with him. He discriminated against me. Well, lose some weight, man. At least you got to be in a movie. Oh! Not null oil. I pulled a Velma. Get your ass out of here. All right, Agrax Earthshade, not null oil. Ultimately, it's not a big deal, but... Yeah, they got some folks in there that... Oh my gosh, this has a little thing that holds it open? I didn't know that. Well, it doesn't come with a manual. Okay, I don't hate these bottles as much now. Still got to be careful not to knock the thing down, though. I didn't know that guy's character's name was Porkins. He was not the pilot I was looking for. And I got mixed feelings on The Mandalorian. I mean, yes, it's good. There's some parts that are really, really slow. Really, really slow. There's some parts of it that are really good, and there's some parts of it that I would have done that a little bit different. Same thing with the House of Boba Fett or whatever it was called. House of Boba. Max, you're really bored with The Mandalorian Season 3. That's your dad's dad joke. When he lets my sister's dog out. Who let her dogs out? Me. Ugh. Dad jokes are funny until you're a dad, and then I don't find them funny anymore. Which is actually when you should find them funny, right? When you're I don't. I think they're annoying. Like, you could do better than that. That's not irreverent enough. I like irreverent humor. Dad jokes are like, wearing socks with sandals. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. If you watch those things online, they'll see, they'll do those polls, top 20 things that shows what Americans do the worldwide, and people just shake their heads kind of things. And that's one of those things with socks and sandals. And actually, I think it's more like a German thing. I've seen German people visit, and they're wearing all kinds of nerd gear, Nerdfest über alles. Nerdenheimer. Well, this had numbers, and I didn't sand it off on purpose, and you can still see through it. But I'm gonna power through it. I am going to take this barrel down though. This has got some flash in this barrel that is going to make me lose sleep at night. Let's get Mr. Sandpaper out here. Well, we'll come back to this. This is the one I can't wait to do. This J has all kinds of detail on it. And this kit is old as all get out. I remember when my daughter was little, we went to Universal Studios, Hollywood Studios, or MGM as it used to be called, and they had a Star Wars day. So we sat around waiting. They were going to have this parade at noon, and they were going to have all the people that were dressed up as stormtroopers, a volunteer from the 551st or whatever the hell it was called, the Nerd Burglar Squad, whatever. So they come in, and not a single one of them is under 400 pounds. It's like they wouldn't have fit on the Death Star. They would have sunk it, And I remember it was so freaking hot. My daughter's on my shoulders. She's all crisp. I remember her saying, "Daddy, I'm getting crispy like a bacon. And, yeah, that was a letdown. Don't cosplay things your body is not made for. That's all I'm just saying, Can you name a tank type that doesn't start with an SP or T? Sure. Well, it depends what a tank type is. A variant? Matilda? Is that a common thing? SP or T? I guess I never really thought about it. Is there a place to grab this underneath somewhere so I don't get this crap everywhere, which luckily I can take off with hand sanitizer? If I'm going to get covered in shit, I want to be covered head to toe. If you're going to get covered in shit, make sure you're so covered that nobody can recognize you, so it's not embarrassing. Who's that? I don't know. He's got shit all over him. And you'll see pictures from these people that do cosplay. I'm like, you don't even remotely look like that character. Thanks for ruining the character. The character was attractive. You ruined it. Just because you wear 2 holsters doesn't mean you can be Lara Croft. I'm just saying, Not a single one of them was under 400 pounds. Absolutely had me dying. It's true. I don't make this shit up. Yeah. They shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, they were making their uniforms. There was so much freaking white plastic on that uniform. It was more than one of those built-in bathrooms. I mean, I remember one Halloween, there was a guy who was riding a motorcycle. He was dressed up like a stormtrooper. He was on a regular motorcycle. But at least he looked like a normal human being, you know? You got a lot of these people that do cosplay. The only character that they're suited to be able to cosplay is Ellie off Gaslands. Look it up. I believe that's what her name is. Which, by the way, that's another one of those characters has some extremely funny commentary. Those people had a blast making the dialogue for that game. Games, I should say. Miranda the Wargaming Girl. No. Cosplaying's pretty weird, though. Because even if you can pull it off, everybody else at that show can't. Wargamer Girl, I should say, is her YouTube channel. Slippery slope. Let's see. There's a misnomer, a Wargamer Girl. That looks like a normal person. I'm a miniature wargamer. Awesome. My primary focus is currently War Machine. Oh. That Miranda is cute, but I bet you she only likes females. What was... Who? Well, she's wearing a Russian hat, so, you know, in Soviet Russia, you fill in the blank. Sierra, Broadsword Gaming, huh? You know, the thing is, if you go and you play a game with somebody like that, somebody even looks normal, most gamers can't react. They can't, but you know, they can't. They don't know how to behave. You know. Well, that ain't coming up. Anywho, what what's the deal with War Machine? What's it like? Is it like where you build like a party or something like that? It sounds like something that people were really into, but I'm not sure if they're into it anymore. But I'm not. I don't really know the. I'm not exactly on the pulse of sci-fi. It's still weird for me to think that there's companies that make miniatures for the rule sets that they also put out. So that's just a really high odds of them leaving you hanging. Steampunkish? Okay, cool. Warband of Steampunk Mech and Mech. Rick, did you ever play that video game that was called Dungeon Siege? And it was a game that it was, unfortunately, I believe it was very linear. But you decided to pick if your character was male and female, and that was it. That's all you got to pick. And you didn't worry about class. You started off with like a bow and maybe like a butter knife or something like that, and like one spell. And as soon as you started using spells more, you became better at spells. So you basically create your own character class, not by choosing ahead of time what kind of a character you're going to play, but by playing the kind of character that you want to play. So, you know, say, I want to be a caster. So you use your one little spell and you do a fireball. And then you do another fireball. And eventually, like, you go up in level in fireball. And then you can do one that's more powerful. And like maybe learn stuff along the way. And I thought the concept was really cool. Where it wasn't like, you know, you're chopping people up, you know, and then you go up a level. So you're like, well, I think I'll add a magic thing. Well, you didn't do any magic to earn that, you know. So it's kind of like you're grinding your abilities, so to speak. But it makes sense because it's like if you enjoy doing this, you're going to enjoy being better at it. It was just kind of a neat concept. And I think they made a sequel to it. And it was probably the last game that ran really well on my old computer before it just went really slow. But it had goblins in it that had steampunk abilities. So they were the ones that, just like in World of Warcraft, they're the ones that have, you know, the firearms and stuff like that. They're like the dwarfs, like the stuff that you normally associate with dwarfs. They're tinkerers and stuff like that. The goblins are tinkerers and that. And I said I was going to get. Sandpaper, and I didn't get any. Damn me. Well, I thought that was an interesting concept for a game. It probably looks like shit now because it was an older game. You know, I don't like retro gaming. You may like. I think actually you do. You know, I suffered through things that look like crap. I don't want to do that again. It doesn't look like crap. It's just dated. You know. Broadsword Gaming. Oh, crap. Broadsword Gaming. Broadsword Wargaming? Oh, she's a painter. Oh, she's cute. I am world's worst multitasker in action. Hey, let me get this to sand this down, and I go back to painting what I'm doing. It's not like I can't fix it. It's just annoying to not be efficient. I could twist this around, but I got this stuff drying. Here we go. Some videos with her in the thumbnail aren't even in the video. That's annoying, isn't it? Clickbait things. And the best thing about having videos with clickbait stuff on them is people's comments. I know why they picked that one. Or, you know, etc. Yeah, I know why too. That's why I came here for the comments. That's one of those new terms that I actually like. Thirst trap. There's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that do that. There's a guy that gets recommended all the time, and he's a comedian, and he's not funny. And he does, and he's got his freaking daughter on there as a thirst trap. And it's like, that's not cool, man. He's not a knockout or anything, but she's cute, but she's like freaking 16. You're like, or less. I'm like, not cool, dude. And that's much worse than a significant other. It's another channel named Game Nights where the host is female. She occasionally thirst traps for video thumbnails. I get annoyed with that. There's some lady that does video, and I think it was when I was looking for something for Axis and Allies, and she does some Axis and Allies video, and she's way over the top, way too excited about the game. I think that's what the game it was. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit. Nobody's that excited about this, you know. It should remake I should remake alternative lyrics for Love Shack with the name Thirst Trap. I think that would work. I guess we forgot to glue this too. I don't know what I'm going to do with the barrel here. Well, I actually got the barrel where I could switch it out between tanks. It doesn't make sense to buy a separate barrel. It costs more than the vehicle. Well, we'll just leave the inside of this black. Perfect. Gives me something to hold on to. I think Axis and Allies is a good game for 2 people. I think once it starts working into more people than that, you just sit around a long time and wait. I like the computer game they had for it a few years ago. I mean, the computer was too easy, but it's one of the few strategic-like games that I don't mind playing. The rear of this tank looks like it just got pounded by something. 75 millimeter or something. And just like real life, the thing about Axis and Allies is it all depends on if Russia falls. Actually, in real life, if the Russians would have fallen, the Germans might still have been in trouble. But it solves a lot of their problems for them. That's for sure. I probably should use a lot less of this stuff than I do. I'm probably being wasteful, but oh well. I am still the only player to play Germany and win from that group. It's difficult. It's a difficult fight. I like playing Russia because if some idiot plays Russia, I'll lose the game. And I don't like playing the Americans in that game. It's boring. I think the way I play Germany is I think I build almost only infantry and husband everything else you have. You just don't have the money to fool around. So you make sure you don't lose any of your offensive weapons and infantry to soak it up until you put enough pressure with the Japanese to really mess with that. I like the World War I version a lot, actually. Even though it shouldn't be called Axis and Allies. Axis hadn't been invented yet. Literally. Okay, so it's 11:05. I did not know this had this little thing on the back. Well, how do you disengage it now? Now that the kickstand is out. It sounded like a good idea until I had to disengage it. I'll tell you how I'm going to disengage it. No, I'm not. Son of a biscuit eater. Well, if I just close it like this, is it a problem? Yeah, because it doesn't get a good seal. Damn you, Games Workshop. No, it's late, and when in doubt, use force. Now it'll close. Anyhow, welcome to how Games Workshop makes your plates dry out faster. I don't think they dry out very fast. I just know that they're okay. This version, I don't mind these. You know, obviously these were the best. What came between these two sucked. They were in that hard plastic thing, and there's paints I've gotten. I got to use them one time, put them away, disappeared. You know, it was like a hard plastic container with a hard plastic lid, and they just wouldn't seal well. Anyway, so we have this morass of things here done. And yeah, just keep plugging along. Well, thanks for coming by, folks.